on the plus side, when there's no sound, I am immune from getting nailed for copyright infringement. Always looking for the positive if I can find some. And that's kind of the way it is with that. Whenever we're soundless, we can avoid you hearing music, which is our goal all the time. Rapsuka has joined us from Finland. Good afternoon to Rapsuka. Eric is now here from Culver City, California, where it's way early. Chris is waking up in New Mexico with us as always. Good morning to Chris and to Canada Dan. And now, some sound from Johnny and Steph, if I can get them in here. They prefer not to. They prefer to just play music. Fine. Cool. We're getting ready to kick off another freaking weekend. And so here we go with our elongated version of our setup. And at this point, and I will remind you several times of this, that next Friday we will not be on here because we are getting ready for the what's going to be a radiothon for a local organization called the Food Bank of Eastern Michigan. So a week from today, 1 week from today on Friday, we won't be on our live stream because I've got to use the phone for doing other things other than talking to you. I'll have to monitor the station and all the things that happen when we have a remote on-location broadcast with Johnny and Steph. So that's a week from today. So here's Kim. That's Ohio Kim. Good morning, Ohio Kim. And Sheila's bringing the sunshine where the Independence Bridge is located, where I guess it's open now. I just got the advisory on that. They've been closing that thing routinely overnight from 7 to 7, and they've just opened it back up. So if you need to cross the Independence Bridge, I'm losing track. Do you pay to go across that one? I think you do, don't you? I can't keep up anymore with the bridge situation in Bay City because they had 4, now they're down to 3 for at least the next 2 years while they repair, in fact, rebuild one. And 2/3 of the remaining bridges you have to pay to go across. Tina's here. Good morning, and what's up, New Jersey? Good to see you as always. Kansas is on here. Carry On Wayward Son. And if we can hear that song and I'm not talking, that's not a good thing. See, the thing about, again, having sound, you know, there was a good part to that, and that is that I can't get nailed for copyright infringement if I don't have any sound that you can hear. I think I've just cut my own throat by doing that, by just restarting this thing. We'll find out, because it happens all the damn time. We're down to 26 days now until spring. 26 days remain. We're starting to see a slow uptick in the high temperature. We've been screwing around with these teens all this week, and a couple of times we were hanging in the single digits for a while, but we're going up to the upper 20s today, and by tomorrow and into the weekend, 30 and upper 30s. So things are getting a little bit better on that front. And then by next week, I think we're supposed to finally hit the 40s again. So as we inch towards spring, yes, the weather is going to start resembling the season a little bit more. Canada Dan is all rejoicing over the fact that the Four Nations tournament, which was probably the most successful all-star format ever concocted by Major League Sports, turned into a boon and a windfall for the National Hockey League in terms of attention. No other league has an all-star game that got as intense as this one did. Those guys weren't playing anything for anything more than just national pride. There was no actual money involved. That was a trophy, but it's not the Stanley Cup that they're always shooting for. That's the biggest and coolest trophy in sports. The one that they won last night wasn't bad, but they were Canada. They beat the U.S. 3-2 in overtime. Another thriller. Those two teams played each other twice. Each time the visiting team won. Did Canada boo? Well, this was actually in the United States. This particular game was in Boston, Massachusetts. And yes, there was a smattering of booing when O Canada was played at the start. However, not that much. And the American fans, and really the Canadian fans, because there were a lot of them there in the crowd as well, were actually singing the lyrics to O Canada for most of that song. So that was a little bit, we're starting to see a little bit maybe smoothing out of relations in that regard. But it turned out to be not so bad. It wasn't nearly as bad as it was when they were in Canada the few nights before that in Montreal, and they were mercilessly booing the U.S. anthem. And they keep making the distinction, and rightfully so, I would think, that they were not booing the players, they weren't booing the country, they weren't booing Americans in general, they were just booing this tariff decision and the fact that the push is on the part of some to make Canada the 51st state in the United States. Canada kind of likes what they're doing and where they are right now. Canada Dan might be able to have more to say about that, but that's what's basically going on there. And then Finland, they were there playing as well. You say they had a bad singer there. I don't recall even who they had. Finland did not last all that well in the tournament. They just made it through the round-robin part. I see that Linda's here. That would be Louise from the Thelma and Louise tandem. She's from the township where it's cold, but not as cold as it's been at this time over the last several days. And in fact, at this point, it's kind of, as Steph had said earlier, almost balmy compared to what we've been feeling this time of the morning this week.
Very busy morning here. It's Friday Funnies edition. It's always busy. 7:11 our time right now. We're going to have in about a half an hour Steph's Fox Flashback. And before we get to that, porn star or weatherman is Steph Barber. So if you can win that game, you'll get a prize. If you can win with Steph's Fox Flashback, you get a prize. It's either Jesters today or we've got tickets for the Monster Truck Show.
Yep, up at the Dow Event Center next weekend.
Yeah, so all of that going on.
See, Dale's here. Welcome. Good morning, or Arizona.
Kansas there and Carry On Wayward Son. I believe they've got a date coming up, don't they?
They do have a date coming up at Soaring Eagle, and the date of that is
April
26th, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yes, it is April 26th, yeah. But sad news about Kansas yesterday. Ronnie Platt, their vocalist, has been diagnosed with thyroid cancer.
Yeah.
He has to have surgery. I think that surgery is scheduled for...
You're going with balmy. That sounds like, for a day like this, probably apropos.
They've canceled some shows.
They've already canceled the February show and the
March ones.
March 1st.
Yeah.
The March 1st.
And there's Mel Mel. Good evening, Mel Mel.
He says that he's going to do everything he can to get back on the road.
Hanging out on YouTube for us. For those of you who are not on YouTube, can't see comments there from Australia, where it's still summertime.
Yeah, which is kind of close to the vocal cords.
And more than balmy lately there.
I have a feeling that that'll be keeping him from going. Yeah, I mean, you can't strain yourself singing. I can't imagine after a thyroid surgery for a while. So we'll have to see how this goes. But so far, they have not canceled our shows or any other shows other than the 2 February shows and the March 1st show. So
we'll hope for the best for that April 26th show
there you go.
at Soaring Eagle. We gave away tickets, didn't we? Not too long ago. Yes, we did.
Yes, we did. The Friday Morning Primal Scream's coming up this morning, and I came across an article that probably has a few people screaming.
In Bama, it's the low 20s this morning, which is what it is here, and that's warmer than we've dealt with much of the week. Boss Lady Penguin reporting live and local from low 20s, Alabama.
Allowed to live together in Michigan if you're not married.
What are they going to do about it?
I don't know. It's also illegal to tie an alligator to a fire hydrant in Detroit.
Well, thank goodness for that.
And in Sioux, Michigan, it's illegal to smoke while you're in bed, which is probably a good idea.
I was going to say, I can't argue with that one.
And in Michigan, a woman is no longer permitted.
Yeah, Erica, Steph just addressed that on the air, and that is interesting news.
Really?
Men get approval over your hairstyle.
I don't think so.
Linda's been up since 1:30, guys, 1:30.
I don't care.
See, that kind of thing happens with me. When I wake up at 1:30, if I feel okay, even though the alarm doesn't go off for another half hour, I'll just stay up.
Ease the pain by
There are advantages to that.
is illegal.
Oh, you can't serenade your sweetheart. Where's that?
Kalamazoo.
Kalamazoo. All
And in
right.
Rochester, all bathing suits have to be inspected by the head of police.
What?
A parade of girls going through with their bathing suits at City Hall or at the police, at the cop shop.
All right, well, we'll get a breathing treatment done for Lady Penguin. Boss Lady Penguin, we will catch you next time over on Twitch.
7:14. The Foxhole Morning Show. Johnny Bird and Steph coming up. Porn star, weatherman, and Steph's Fox Flashback. Both chances to win coming up. Both within the next half hour.
And brought to you by Michigan Lumber Company. Come see their display of woodward cabinets, and then call the kitchen professional Steve Brown today for all of those details. Or you can see them at MichiganLumber.com and follow Michigan Lumber on Facebook.
This is TJ Brown.
Okay, next time. Have a good weekend, Boss Lady Penguin. Quickly, a chance to smile at the face of a Delaware dog. We don't have that many of those, but we've got one today. It's Zoe, who is an Afghan hound who lives in Seaford, Delaware. This has got to be a chore to brush this animal. That's Zoe. That is a Delaware dog and a half right there. Yes, sir. Look at that. On the, by the way, on the snow. On the snow. You want to talk about snow? Talk about Gaylord, Michigan, where it's about up here. Since November the 20th, Johnny was talking about this on the air a little bit earlier, but since November the 20th, they've had, out of the last 93 days, 86 of them, it has snowed. 86 of those days. They've gotten a cumulative total, 15 feet of snow in that time. Gaylord. Gaylord. Linda fell back asleep at 4:30. Now, feels like she's been put through non-whole side. But see, that's the reason why I don't fall back asleep, because it's exactly what I'm afraid is going to happen. The alarm is supposed to go off at 2 o'clock in the morning for me. But a lot of times, it goes in my head off before that. I don't need the alarm. I'm usually awake sometime between about 1 o'clock and 2. And if that happens, and I feel pretty good, I'm not even going to attempt to go back to sleep because of what's happening here with you. Too afraid I'm going to feel too groggy. That's what happens. 50 feet in Lapland, Finland. 50 feet of snow in Lapland, Finland. How close is that to you? Is that anything close to you at all? Looking crash-free at this point. The only thing to keep an eye out for right now in the city of Flint is a disabled vehicle we'll find on Western Road at Pearson Road. Throughout the day, if you're looking for vehicle city traffic information, just simply check out classicfox.com/traffic, and it's going to be there. And if you spot a slowdown, let us know at 810-230-WRSR, 810-230-9777. It'll be a traffic tipster right here on 103.9 The Fox. Linda just tries to roll with it and being groggy, feeling like she got pulled through a knothole sideways, as she describes. So Eric is looking forward to his 38th birthday on March 3rd. All right, so look forward to that coming up. That's going to be huge. That's going to be epic this year. I don't know how old you feel, but 38 is still not bad. Still not bad. Big day today in Michigan because the folks who are making minimum wage just got a raise. Today is the day that the minimum wage in our state goes up again. Goes up to $12.48 an hour, which is a $1.92 raise from the last minimum wage hike, which just happened a few weeks ago. We've had 2 of those raises since the calendar year began. So here we are, $12.48 is minimum wage in the state of Michigan right now. If only. If only. 26 days away from spring. Well, we had, and we've got coming up tonight, a lottery drawing, the Mega Millions. This is the multiplayer game, which is at $165 million for the jackpot. Good luck if you're going to take a crack at that. We've got the Powerball coming up tomorrow night. And then, of course, there are a bunch of states that have their own specific games that are just specific to their state. Michigan is one of those. And we have the Lotto 47 here and that kind of thing. Rob Suka is going to play the Fireball lottery. Any day that you walk away from the Hal Hole Saloon sober is a win for you, a lottery win for you, Rob Suka. I'm telling you. The amount of those that you order. But we had a guy in Michigan who played Lotto 47, and he did the very same thing that I've constantly preached because I've only heard about it through people who have multiple wins in lottery games in their history. And they've written books about this kind of thing. And they constantly say to you, always play the same numbers. Even if you don't think they're ever going to win. You keep playing and playing and playing, they don't ever win. They will win eventually, maybe, but they've got a better chance of doing it that way than if you're all over the map with your numbers. Because at some point, if you're doing it that way, you may stumble upon a set of numbers that already were big winners. And the odds on that happening again are pretty slim. I mean, they're slim enough to win no matter what numbers you play, but they're really slow if you play the same numbers that have already won for somebody a grand prize at some point. So this one particular guy in Michigan who has been playing the same set of Lotto 47 numbers for 4 years, same set every time, for 4 years, it finally paid off for him. He won $1.3 million in the jackpot just the other day. Said his prize money is going to allow him to pay off some bills and take an extended family vacation. Rev Hal. Yes. I don't, I fully believe that is this. I don't know if it's a secret to success, but it's a secret to a less chance of failure, if that makes some sense. A little bit less chance of failure. Again. Okay, Eric is feeling like his late 80s, which is something we got to change that psychologically around for you, dude. That's one of the things that we constantly we're constantly pushing to try to get you guys to feel a little bit more like you're younger than your actual years. Where you're younger up here than you are everywhere else. That's kind of what we're shooting for, hopefully. We're going to get you working around in that regard. If you're going to be 38 feeling like 80, we want to kind of turn that around as best we're able to do at some point. All right? Dale's talking about bringing the cake and, well, of course, other dishes can be provided by other people for this big thing that's happening, which will be Eric's birthday when it happens on the 3rd of March. We're going to be doing our Friday morning Primal Scream a little bit later on this morning, a little after 8:30. We've got food fighting to do. And let me remind you again so that I don't forget to do it again. Well, a couple things. One, like and subscribe if you're on YouTube to do that. We're starting to pick up a few more subscribers, and the more that happens, the closer we get toward being able to grow this group and bring in even more cool people to join this, what is already our core group of people in the Hal Raises. We'd like to be able to get some more folks in as well. Okay, Tina's thinking that Eric needs a Tina shower. That's interesting. That's interesting. Whoa, what does that mean? Whoa. Dinner is at noon. Rob Suka's got dinner set up at noon. There you go. And the other thing I wanted to remind you of is that 1 week from today, which is, of course, the last day of February, it's also a radiothon that our station will be putting on. And you know in the past what happens when we have radiothons, and therefore the station has this big day. Well, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, they're actually going to do it from the station, so we might not be able to have to worry about that. I was thinking they were going to go on location for that, but as I remember Johnny talking about, they're actually going to have it in the studio, so we should be all right. I was thinking that we wouldn't be able to do it because they were going on remote, because many times for those radiothons they do. But this one I think they're doing right from the station. This is going to be the Fox Feeding Frenzy, which is going to be for the Food Bank of Eastern Michigan. So we should be in pretty good shape there. Tina's talking about the Fountain of Youth shower is what she's talking about with you, Eric. That's what she's talking about with you. Trying to shower you with the psychological Fountain of Youth vibes. We need to get that in for you. All right? So that's what's going on in our near future. And as I said, we've also got other things to do today that include our food fight and some other stuff. Want to tell you about the Big Beaver. I'm going to tell you about the Big Beaver today. And no, yes, it is a town in Michigan, or at least a street in Michigan. Not a town, but a street in Michigan. We have an actual one. We've got some interesting names of streets in our state. I want to tell you. We do. And that's just one of them. Big beaver. There is one. And it lives in Chicago. We've got some friends of ours at the Hal Raisers who come to us from Chicago and view us on occasion, but I don't know if they're aware of this guy. After we get done with hearing what they're doing on the air, I want to tell you about the Big Beaver. Spring training is underway indeed, Rob Suka. Tigers play their first preseason game tomorrow. Okay. Hold on, I dropped my headphones. Those things have been beaten up enough. I don't need to have them cracked or anything. Okay. In Chicago, we've got Judgment Free Zone here. Welcome again. You're on Twitch for those who don't see. Judgment Free Zone now joining us. Back again. You were here a couple of times already, and I got to constantly be reminded of where you're reporting from. Where you're looking in from Judgment Free Zone today. I know you're certainly not real close to us. I do remember that part. And we'll talk about this big beaver. In fact, it's been described as a remarkably rotund beaver. There you go. There you go. We're at the Tennessee-Kentucky border. That's where you are. Okay. You were south of us. Trying to think where. The Kentucky and Tennessee border, which has got some terrific scenery down that way. Been there a couple of different times on road trips down I-75, and very, very nice part of the country. So welcome in. What's your weather situation over there? Matter of fact, we might as well take a look and see what's going on weather around the world. What do you all have? I know that Mel is sweltering right now because they're still in summertime in Australia. But what do we got going elsewhere? We're right now 22 degrees. There's a chance we'll see a little bit of snow flurry action, and then later on just cloudy. But it's going to start to warm up this weekend into the 30s. And for people in this area where we've been looking at sub-zero and teens weather at best much of the week, this 30s thing is sounding pretty good. Tina does not remember Judgment Free Zone. He's on Twitch right now. Tina is here on YouTube and reporting from where it is 32 later, but it's 21 now. At least that's what the phone says. She says it's 19. 6 degrees right now. They had 6-degree weather in Kentucky/Tennessee where they had ice and cold weather warnings till 10 a.m. Only see the warmth peaking in on Sunday. Okay? All right. All right. This beaver has been photographed, and one of the people on social media that has seen a picture of it, there's also a nonprofit in the area named Urban Rivers that wrote on social media, this particular beaver lives, eats, and knocks down trees in Pilsen, Bridgeport, and McKinley Park. So really, she's at the intersection of the south, southwest, and west sides of the city. She's gotten especially large the last few weeks, probably due to pregnancy, but she's been remarkably rotund for longer than a beaver pregnancy lasts. This group also said the beaver has a reputation for being tough. Spots she hangs out are absolutely filled with coyotes, and she says we can't figure out how she hasn't been eaten. So Urban Rivers, this nonprofit, is asking members of the public in Chicago to suggest names for this, again, remarkably rotund rodent. Some of the names that have already been suggested include Lori Heavyfoot. Okay, you might have heard of the former mayor of Chicago, Lori Lightfoot. Lori Heavyfoot, Sigourney Beaver, and Dan Ryan. They have a freeway that goes through town. I think it's I-90. That's called the Dan Ryan Expressway. And so they decided, how about Damn Ryan? That would work for this one. So Dale's got partly cloudy skies in Arizona. High 50, low of 17 in Burnside. "26 days away from the spring season. Look at this. This is a name, Fatty Patty. Fatty Patty. I think that would probably be a contender for the name that you should use for a rotund rodent. That's good. Anybody have anything going on this weekend in terms of cool plans? We're going to Ohio now, where Kim says 20 is what we've got right now over there, and it's a real feel of 16. They had to close schools, yesterday, I think, because of the wintry kind of conditions over there. You guys getting a warm up in Ohio at all as far as your forecast? I mean, are you going up into the 30s or anything close to that? 53 in Culver City, California, and it's going to be 70, which is, boy, that's kind of cool for California, isn't it? Well, we've got some big plans for Sheila. A big surprise party for Sheila's mom's 75th birthday. That's tomorrow. That's going to be big stuff.
103.9 to Fox got a chance for you to win. Two chances for you to win in the next 10 minutes or so. We're going to start out with porn star weatherman here in just a moment. And then, of course, Steph's Fox flashback coming up. Ozzy Osbourne there. No More Tears coming up at 7:31 here in the Foxhole. I love this. Nathan's in New York. You know, they're the famous hot dog place in New York.
Yeah.
We're crazy about our Kogels here.
Sure.
In New York, they're crazy about Nathan's hot dogs, okay? It's a big deal. There's stands all over the state of New York.
Okay.
There was one on my way home from work when I worked at 103.1 The Fox in Buffalo. You have so much originality.
Yeah, I know, right?
On my way home from work every day, I would drive by Nathan's and stop and stand in line for like 20 minutes to get a hot dog.
Yeah.
A happy birthday to Sheila's mom coming from Judgment Free Zone and on Twitch.
I'll tell you that. But they are very good, and the way they make them is very good. They make them all in front of you right there, and there's a line that you go through, and you can have any kind of stuff thrown
You got schools back open again. Good. Have you guys burned your most of your snow days? Because over here, there's only like one or two left. If some of these districts have already burned all of their allocated days.
Boil their hot dogs, in New York. Sure. So they are now selling New York City tap water, so you can boil your hot dogs in the authentic New York City tap water.
Shut up.
I'm not kidding.
Shut up.
Grab a wiener and enjoy it New York style by boiling it in New York City tap water, which you can now buy through Nathan's.
I think that's brilliant.
65 people coming to this birthday bash, and so Sheila says they got a taco bar going, and she has stuff to cut up and make that they have to have. She always does these big, you know how it's just Thanksgiving, she brings half of Michigan over to her place. Unbelievable. You ought to run a food channel or something, Sheila.
7:32 here in the Foxhole. Stand by, because let's do it now. Let's take the third caller, 810-230-9777. You're going to get in on the Porn Star Weatherman contest with Steph, and then that'll directly be followed by another contest called Steph's Fox Flashback, which is a feature combined with a contest. We're going to take the third caller now, though, at 810-230-9777. If you think you know your porn better than Steph. Sorry, you're caller number one. So sorry. You're caller number two. Sorry. 103.9 The Fox. Who's on my phone?
Crystal.
Crystal, you're the third caller. You're going to get to play. Woohoo! Hopefully you know your porn better than Steph, and that's a long way.
It was a long and arduous afternoon of show prep yesterday afternoon.
She's all set now, and you are too. We're going to be playing Porn Star Weatherman coming up next on the Fox. The Foxhole Morning Show. Johnny Burke and Steph on the way. All right, right after Porn Star Weatherman, we're going right into Steph's Fox Flashback. So you got a couple of chances to win here. In an hour from now, it's the Friday morning primal screen.
And all of this foolishness is a product of Michigan Lumber. Come see their display of woodward cabinets, and then call the kitchen professional, Steve Brown, today for all of those details. Or you can see them at MichiganLumber.com and follow Michigan Lumber Company on Facebook.
February 28th and March 1st.
Sheila cannot help it if her immediate family is so big. Yeah, you know what? You sound like... I was always under the impression that that's pretty much reserved for the Italian folks, to have these humongous-sized families where you have to use a convention center for any party that they do. Because I know I had that situation in my real young years. This one kid in the neighborhood that we used to hang out with was an Italian family, and they had an enormous-sized every time that they had a birthday or any other kind of celebration or any kind of party, it was always a humongous amount of people that were at his house for that. Always, always. We'll get to the traffic and then porn star weatherman with Steph. And I got something to tell you about how people in sports sometimes have to negotiate out some of the things they get. And I'm not talking about contracts. You've probably heard about these enormous contracts that professional athletes get. We can never even possibly fathom the kind of money that they make. But they also have to negotiate out other things during their career that you may not be aware of. And they don't necessarily have an agent to help them do that. And I'm going to tell you exactly how that works out. Just being able to get along with a teammate sometimes takes major negotiation, just to be able to get along with a teammate, particularly if it's a new one. 300 people, Sunday dinner, 300 people in Tina's family. She's an Italian. See that? I'm telling you what. Eric's dad's birthday is on the 25th. He'll be 77. So you're looking at Tuesday next week. Is that a surprise for him? The party? Or are you going to do something that is going to surprise him? We'll get to the traffic here in just a second. 22 degrees on this Friday morning. 26 days away from spring. Just 26 days.
At Michigan.gov/SUD. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Having sore feet at the end of a long workday is a sure sign of a bad day all around. So get your feet into the right kind of boots or shoes from the fine folks at Red Wing Shoes in Flint Township, where your work is their work. Red Wing boots make happy feet. Problem solved.
The attorneys at ADAM, the American Divorce Association for Men, are dedicated to representing men in
I
divorce.
don't see it snowing out there. It's cloudy, but I don't see it snowing right now.
Call ADAM, 810-244-ADAM, 810-244-2326, or ADAM Family Law.
Porn star weatherman is coming up next.
Here from Young Chevrolet, wishing everyone a happy New Year's and welcome to 2025. And let's get things started with some awesome deals. Some of the lowest payments we've had in a long time. Listen to this. Brand new Chevy Trax as low as $214 a month. That's right, $214 a month.
So we're not going to do a surprise party for Eric's dad.
For as little as $235 a month.
Quiet celebration of number 77. Wonder how old he feels. 77 years old. Wonder how old he feels.
Get a lease and you want to get out early? Give us a call. Let us see what we can do. But a lot of times you can get out early and take advantage of these low monthly payments.
Once again, remember, if you're joining us for the first time because you came here by accident and you're seeing us on YouTube, like and subscribe. This is quite the group here, and you can be part of it as it grows. Because they're here all the time, these Hellraiser people, crazy as they are. They're here all the time from all over. Truly international. Here we go. Earlier problem cleared up. We have no reports of any new crashes or unusual slowdowns to impede your progress as you're heading in this morning on a Friday. Throughout the day, if you're looking for Vehicle City traffic info, you can check out ClassicVox.com/traffic. That will happen for you. And if you spot a crash, let us know at 810-230-WRSR, 810-230-9777, the number to be a traffic tipster, right here on 103.9 The Fox.
It's time for Porn Star or Weatherman. Something that Steph knows way too much about. Steph, the porn princess, and who's our contestant today?
Crystal Sweeney of Owasso.
Crystal, how you doing this morning? I'm doing good. Where are you calling from? From Owasso, or are you on the road somewhere?
I'm in Owasso at home.
All right. Well, we are about to play a game that will change your life.
I wouldn't go that far.
Proving that, well, yeah, but if you end up beating Steph and having to say that you're and you know your porn better than Steph does, everybody's going to give you a hard time. I want to just point that out, so that's why it could change your life. So here we go. The way this works, I give Steph the name of a performer, and then she decides whether the name is more appropriately a porn star or a weatherman. Then you either agree with her or disagree with her. If she fools you 3 times before you get it right 3 times, you lose. But if you win, you get your choice of prizes. What'd you choose?
The tickets to the Monster Truck.
Sheila's family tree is like this big sequoia. Grandma had 4 kids, those 4 had 10 kids, and those 10 had 24, and those 24 have 7 so far, and counting. That's why there's always, you need to rent a stadium for the parties that they have.
John Fuller,
John Fuller.
porn star weatherman.
How does he spell John?
John. The right way.
I know. But so many people spell it Jon.
Because that's their name is Jonathan.
Oh, is that why it is?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. You know, I'm gonna say weather person.
She says weather. What do you say to that?
I agree.
You agree? You're right. You got 1. Danielle Breezy.
It's an interesting observation from Linda. It's nice that you all still get together. You get that many people, you're playing with fire. You know how families can be.
Danielle.
Oh, Danielle.
Breezy. Danielle.
You know what? That's too obvious to be a weather person. I'm gonna say porn star.
She says porn. What do you say to that?
I agree.
You agree? She's a meteorologist in Middle Tennessee somewhere.
With the last name of Breezy, huh?
With the last name Breezy.
All right, Crystal, we're tied up here.
All right.
Maybe Judgment Free Zone knows who that is.
Jansen.
Nick? All right, how do you spell Nick?
N-I-C-K.
All right, it's not N-I-K?
No,
All right,
it's not.
all right.
Nick Jansen.
Nick Jansen. I'm going to say porn star.
She says porn star. What do you say to that?
Disagree.
You're right. 2 to 1. She's beating you. She knows her porn better than you.
Crystal, what do you do in your spare time?
Oh.
I think we know.
All right.
Let's just say I have a toy box.
Oh, all right.
You only need to get 1 more
One
right.
more and you win.
You can even mess up and still go because she's only got 1 point so far. Here we go. Chris Hammer. Chris Hammer.
Oh, come on, with the last name like Hammer?
Porn star or weatherman?
Porn star.
She says porn star. What do you say?
Disagree.
That's how you win.
Damn, Crystal.
That's how you win. Chris Hammer's a weatherman.
Woohoo.
Chris Hammer is a weatherman in Cheyenne, Wyoming.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, I thought with the last name like, well, never mind.
That's why I use it.
Crystal, congratulations. Those
Thank
Monster
you.
Truck tickets and pit passes are yours. So you know what you get to say here, Crystal?
I know porn better than you.
Very nicely done.
Have fun with your friends this weekend.
And your toys.
I will, thank you.
Thanks for calling. Have a good day. Have a great weekend, too. And now,
The Foxhole Morning Show on 103.9 The Fox. Steph's Fox Flashback.
All right, Charlie's angel, Farrah Fawcett, was a huge fan of this artist. And when she was dying of cancer and too sick to go to one of his live shows, he taped one especially for her. Sadly, his performance was one of the last things she watched. So let's get into it. From his 1970 album, his band in the street choir, it's Van Morrison with Domino on 103.9 The Fox.
That's like Johnny's one of his all-time favorite artists, Van Morrison. Now, we go back to the family of Sheila, which says that Easter and Thanksgiving are at her house, and Christmas is at her mom's little sister's house. And again, you do have to rent limos, stagecoaches, mega buses, maybe double-deckers to get this entire family together each time that they get together, because it's crazy. Lots and lots of food is consumed, and lots of frivolity is had. But then that's really beating the odds if you're able to take that many family members and do that. Because, well, every time I hear a commercial where one of the spokespeople for a company says, we treat you like family, that's one of the last places I'm going to patronize because I know how family can get treated. So, no. All right, I was telling you, never a dull moment of gathering, what a treat. That's, if you can pull that off with that many people, that's something to be saluted. Telling you. Now, Ohio Kim is growing everything and, again, raising the specter of a challenge of getting everybody along because she's got the 2 boys and 14 grandkids right there. 14 grandkids. Just trying to remember the names of all of them is a challenge. I'm telling you. Now, I was talking to you guys about how in sports where the contract figures that you probably have been, even if you don't follow sports, occasionally stories of these mega contracts that these athletes get will make it to the news and you'll be able to hear about them. Then there are some people who have heard about athletes only because their names are so popular, they transcend their sport in terms of popularity. A Wayne Gretzky, for example, or a Tiger Woods, for example, would be another one. Or probably nowadays, Patrick Mahomes is getting in that category where even if you don't necessarily watch their sport, you've heard their names and therefore you know they play a particular sport, even if you don't necessarily know what team they play for. I'll throw Travis Kelce's name into that mix right now because of, well, his life and what has happened with him and how he intersects with the pop music world now, thanks to who he's been dating for the last couple of years. But these guys get these enormous contracts, right? But sometimes all the money in the world is not going to get them necessarily what they want. And one of the things that an athlete, particularly a dominant athlete in his particular sport, and I guess you can also start to say hers now because Caitlin Clark has been throwing some real heavyweight women's publicity to the WNBA, so her number 22 is suddenly becoming popular. But I want to talk to you more about this in a second. Hang on.
Forgotten about that classic. So good. So good, and that's what this feature is all about. Hey, listen, if there's something that I can play for you, this is a request feature. So if there's a birthday, an anniversary, maybe a song you haven't heard in a while, send me an email, steph@classicfox.com. I love to play those requests. And take advantage of that feature because not many people in this market play requests anymore. So again, they can come to me, steph@classicfox.com. The phone number that you'll need, 810-230-9777. You are playing for great lunches or dinners at Jester's. We've got a $20 gift certificate for you to spend there. Or we do have a few more pairs of tickets and pit passes for the Monster Truck Tour happening in Saginaw at the Dow Event Center next weekend. So here's the question. Van Morrison is not an American artist. Where is he from?
Okay.
Do you know?
Yeah, I think I do.
Yeah?
Apparently you're saying it in such a way now that you got me doubting. Let's go to the phone.
All right. Good morning, the Fox. Do you have an answer for us?
Is it Ireland?
It is.
That's what I would have said.
It is Belfast, North Ireland. Yes.
Are you serious? I had no idea. I had no idea.
That was a luck.
He used to tour with the Chieftains, who are like the biggest band in Ireland.
Yeah.
That's so wild. It just came to me.
See, it was
Divine
divine intervention, Dana.
That's awesome. And I'm sitting in my church parking lot right now, so yeah.
See, there you go.
The Lord wants me to eat Jester's.
There you go.
That's perfect. And you know what fascinates me? Every time I talk about an artist that we love so much, not being from America,
Right.
it blows my mind that they can sing and sound very American,
Right.
and yet when you talk to them in just a normal conversation, evidently Van Morrison had a very heavy Irish accent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does. And, it's like when the Beatles first came out, being a kid,
Sure.
I just thought they were American. When I
Yeah.
heard them talk, I went, what?
What? I know, right?
Yeah.
Crazy. Dana, so are you going to take that Jester certificate, or would you rather have tickets and pit passes for the Monster Truck Tour next weekend in Saginaw?
Hello?
Dana?
Did we
I'm here.
Oh, all right, there we go.
Go ahead.
I'll take the Jesters.
All right, I'm going to put your name on that, Dana. You hang on tight. We'll get some info off the air.
All right.
But who
That's good.
just hooked you up with Steph's Fox Flashback?
Well, it's report him to Fox, baby.
Perfect.
Listen to
Well, there you go.
103.9 The Fox anywhere in the world.
Yes, he's available on Google.
Medical Center. Download it.
Johnny follows his career implicitly. I mean, everything that Van Morrison does, Johnny loves. Here's the thing with these athletes. There's a guy by the name of Juan Soto. You may not be as familiar with if you are only a casual follower of baseball, which is now back to business again because they started their spring training games yesterday with one Dodgers, and I think the Dodgers and Cubs played each other yesterday. And the Tigers get their preseason going tomorrow, and all the other teams are going this weekend as well, starting the preseason, get ready for the regular season. Well, Juan Soto has just changed teams. He played for the New York Yankees most recently, but as a free agent, he was able to leave, and he went to the other team in New York. He is now a Met, and therefore he's going to be cheered on very, very enthusiastically by Tina. Big Met fan. But now that he is with the Mets, he had to make a big deal with one of his new teammates, a guy by the name of Brett Beatty. The reason is that Juan Soto wears uniform number 22. He has his entire career, and he's made his name, and he has made a major contract based on all of his on-field exploits while wearing number 22. So he's got an enormous amount of pride in that jersey number. When that happens, when you are an athlete whose number and name are synonymous with one another, and then you go to a different team that already has somebody on it that's wearing that number, what happens? Usually, the guy who's got the number that's on that team already gets to keep it, unless the newcomer, the new guy, in this case Juan Soto, negotiates a deal to get the initial wearer of that number to give it up and take another one. Because again, you tend to, in athletics, you lose your identity somewhat if you change uniform numbers. That's how important they are to these guys who play the game. So Juan Soto is now taking his number 22 to the Mets, where Brett Beatty already has it. So what did he have to do in order to be able to get Brett Beatty to give up his number 22 so that Soto could wear it as a Met? He had to buy him a new SUV. Now, again, these are guys who are already swimming around in money to the point where they could own an entire car dealership, right? If they wanted to. Certainly Soto. He has a $765 million contract to go to the Mets to play outfield for them and hit home runs and win games. So he shelled out $80,000 for a 2025 Chevy Tahoe RST, which is valued at about $80,000, and so that Beatty would give up his jersey number 22 to Soto, so that he could then wear it. A fist fight. That could happen too, if it came down to that. I've not heard yet of a situation where it did, but I could see where it could, because both the current wearer of certain jersey numbers and those who want to keep theirs, very provincial, very, very, very possessive when it comes to that. You would think it's just a number, right? But no, you can't think of certain players without thinking of their jersey number. I want to say Mickey Mantle, but he's an older school guy with the Yankees. He's number 7. You could never think of him playing in anything other than number 7. Patrick Mahomes has carved out a career now where you can't ever see him playing in a number other than 15. And we're talking, I know, to some people who don't follow sports enough to even be able to associate the numbers with the players, but most of these guys that I'm talking about are the kinds that are big enough stars in their sport where at least you've heard of them, even though you don't necessarily watch them doing what they do in the field of competition. The guy who won last night's hockey game with an overtime goal, a guy named Connor McDavid, is another guy who is always going to be associated his entire career with the number 97. And he was the guy who won the game for Canada over the United States last night, 3-2 in overtime. It turned out to be one of the most intensely fought over all-star competitions that pro sports has ever seen. Tina is laughing at that, and Heather is saying good morning on Facebook. She's our favorite Marine and almost missed us today. Will you just get up? Or you just happen to think we're on? By the way, for those who don't know, our schedule is, and Heather knows this, our schedule is YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch in simul-stream form on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And if this is a Tuesday or a Thursday, any day that begins with T, we're always on Instagram. And Tina is one of, I should say, Heather is one of those who joins us much of the time on many of those. So welcome to Heather. What's going on over there weather-wise? She's in Northern Virginia, for those who are not aware. Used to live here in Michigan, then decided, I don't want to see as much snow. And yet she goes to Northern Virginia, and I'm seeing pictures come from her that have snow in them. Lots of it. So we'll get to the news in a second, and then we've also got food fighting to do, and we've got screaming to do later.
Fox, Johnny and Steph in the house here on the Foxhole Morning Show for a Friday. That's right, Friday Funnies edition of the Foxhole Morning Show right now on the air. And of course, we've got a Friday morning Primal Scream coming up at about 8:30, 8:35 to get rid of any negative energy you might have in your system from the week of living.
Site is about to open back up because it's getting warmer there. That's good news, because that means if you're getting warmer, that means eventually we will also.
A weekend, you got to get rid of all that negative crap, and that's what we're doing with the Friday morning Primal Scream. We also have a call. If somebody wants to talk to you about that Van Morrison thing.
Okay.
Go ahead. Wait a minute, hold on. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't have you. Go ahead. Yeah. You guys are does a lot. Almost everything he sings is phenomenal.
Yeah, I just like how you two interact with all the audience that listen to you, and we really respect you. And you guys do a great job.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. You just made my morning. Actually, my week. Thank you.
Let's go home now.
Yeah, we're all done. Thanks.
Actually, he started out by talking about Van Morrison and the song.
Sure, yeah.
That you picked, which was Domino, and he said the Brown Eyed Girl was a good one too. Of course it is. It is one of our favorites.
As his Moon Dance and, like you said, almost everything.
You saw at the Four Nations game. Yeah, they were in Montreal. They were booing the Star Spangled Banner pretty enthusiastically. It didn't happen so much that way in Boston last night when O Canada was played. There was some booing going on, but not a lot. And eventually, the Americans and Canadians all got together and sang the rest of the lyrics to O Canada. But it did start off with a little bit of booing.
It just sounds so much better when he's the one.
That's been kind of the thing in the NHL in the last several weeks, ever since this whole tariff thing came up.
Website, so I don't know if he tours anymore or not. I don't think so.
I always thought he'd be a great Batman villain because he looks like a gerbil or something. I don't know what
He looks like he's permanently high.
Yeah, that too, but he also has that kind of a look like a penguin character.
He does kind of, doesn't
like
he? Yes.
Something like a notorious criminal of some sort.
I just saw a recent picture of him. Yeah. He looks like kind of a short, pudgy European.
Yeah, he does. He's with a tremendous voice.
Of course.
7:57 here live in the Foxhole right now. Don't forget to check out Fox Big Deals before you go out this weekend, whether you're looking to a business to come and do something at your house like snow plowing or anything like that, or services that you need to have done or performed, or I don't even know what's on them. I haven't checked the Fox Big Deals site lately, but there's all kinds of stuff on there, including restaurants, and a lot of weekend activity is over the restaurants. You can print these certificates right on your home computer once you go to foxbigdeals.com.
Up to 29 degrees Fahrenheit right now in New Mexico, reports Chris.
More if you're going out the door to a restaurant, stop on our website first and see if you can't get a deal with foxbigdeals.com.
It's news time here. 5 things you should know from 103.9 The Fox, brought to you by Shea Automotive Group. Right now, buy a car from the Shea Megalot and finance it through Financial Plus Credit Union. Get a $150 gas card. See dealer for details. Just Shea'n. Well, there are reports this morning the state legislature managed to pass sick time and minimum wage reforms late last night. That development is in the wake of Michigan Supreme Court's decision to raise the minimum wage and also make changes to the state's Earned Sick Time Act. Compromise reportedly letting letting tipped workers make 50% of the minimum wage and preserve the tip credit. Businesses with a certain number of workers would be required to offer a specific amount of sick leave. Kelly Bryant, the Oakland County mother accused of abandoning her 3 children for years, formally arraigned yesterday and is now being held on a whopping $250 million bond, with a judge considering her to be a flight risk. Prosecutors alleging that the 34-year-old Bryant left the 3 siblings alone amid squalor inside a home in Pontiac since about 2K20, and in that time, they neither went outside nor to school, largely left to their own devices and with very little food to survive. The Senate narrowly voted yesterday to confirm Kash Patel to serve as the new FBI director. The vote was 51-49, and Democrats are arguing that Patel would use the agency to go after President Trump's perceived enemies. Canada won the Four Nations Face-Off Championship in hockey last night, beating the U.S. 3-2 in overtime on a goal by Edmonton Oiler Connor McDavid. Michigan State facing Michigan tonight, college basketball, Big Ten style at the Chrysler Center. That one to start at 8 p.m. Pistons are going to be in San Antonio tonight to face the Spurs, who just learned they're going to be without star center Victor Wembanyama for the rest of the season due to a shoulder ailment. Flint Firebirds face off against the North Bay Battalion tonight. That's a 7 o'clock face off at the Dort Financial Center. Last night, the Saginaw Spirit beat the Battalion 5-1 up in Saginaw, and the Tigers are set to open their Grapefruit League exhibition schedule down in Florida tomorrow when they take on the Phillies in Lakeland. And to cap this one off, tonight's Mega Millions drawing is going to be for a jackpot of $165 million. And that's 5 things you should know from 103.9 The Fox.
103.9 The Fox.
A few flurries scattered around the region this morning, but the rest of the day to be generally cloudy, with temperatures hitting around 27, with winds out of the west-northwest at 6 to 8 miles an hour. Cloudy skies tonight, cold once again, down around 15, and then it's sunshine for us at times tomorrow, with highs around 30. Sunday, cloudy, but a bit milder, 36. Right now it is 22 in Flint, and in Saginaw, 23.
This is the Foxhole Morning Show.
Flint's Classic Rock Authority.
103.9 The Fox.
Friday morning primal scream coming up in about a half an hour here on the Fox.
Yes, indeed. It's 8 o'clock already here in the Eastern Time Zone, and Heather saw the flooding in Detroit after that water line break. Yeah, that was crazy. That was really crazy over there. Cars frozen up to their door handles. It was really wild in Detroit. For those who'd seen the video of that thing, that's crazy in Detroit. Good morning, Lori Ann, who is also now on Facebook today, and happy Primal Scream soon. Oh, I guess you're ready for that, huh? Spring is 26 days away. We're getting there. Counting down the days, and as I say, Lori Ann looks like she's ready for the scream if she's looking forward to that and already making note of that. So with that in mind, I should probably now start thinking about checking in with the studio and making sure we have them when we need them, because that's coming up in about a half an hour, and before that we got some food fighting to do as well. What's going on this morning, Lori Ann? Once again, to recap, this is the day where minimum wage in Michigan has risen again. It's $12.48 an hour right now for minimum wage in Michigan. It's the second time this calendar year, that the minimum wage has gone up, and this particular hike has been $1.92 from the old to the new. That is the most ever since a minimum wage has even been recognized around here. 26 days away, yes. Heather also saying that we need the scream today. Okay, things going on in your life too. Okay, well, hopefully we can straighten that away for you by blowing out all the negative energy and putting you on the psychological path to pleasantry. Let's see what's going on here. We had been talking earlier this morning about... Okay, now I've got them in the studio. Kill that. Okay, now we're good. About what's going on up in Gaylord, Michigan. Going to be up in here. Right there is where, since November the 20th, 86 out of the 93 days have included at least some level of snowfall for them. Every day, 86 out of 93 days, they're up over 15 feet of snow for the season. Lori Ann saying that marketplace shopping for Harley Davidson goodies. This is a biker chick we're talking now, okay? Harley Davidson goodies. Looking forward to riding soon. It's getting to be closer to riding weather. No wonder you're excited about the temperature warming up a little bit. The fact that it is in the 20s today makes it feel a little bit balmy, as the word was used a little bit earlier, because we've had so much time that we've been hanging in the either zero, sub-zero, or just barely above zero territory this week. And we've talked in the past about how if we get a long stretch of time where that happens, where it's exorbitantly cold, and then all of a sudden it rises even maybe 10 degrees, relatively speaking, that feels really, really good. I've told this story a bunch of times about being at our old station up in Saginaw and having gone through about a week of sub-zero actual temperatures in a row, like 6, 7 days in a row of just sub-zero temperatures several years back.
Between 10 and 3, Steve Driver does something called a midday munchie. We always tell you what it is in advance. It happens to be Dire Straits' Walk of Life today. When you hear that played between 10 and 3, be the first caller, get a King Arthur's Pasties Bakery and more gift certificate from the Fox Workforce on Fox.
That at the end of that stretch of super cold weather, it got to be, by the time I left work that day, 6 degrees above zero, +6 Fahrenheit, and it felt like spring. I remember walking out to the car from the building after that, and it felt like spring at 6, because your body got so conditioned to this real super cold weather. Psychologically, you're ready for it. Every time you go outside, you're ready for it. You're ready for it. You're ready for it. Even to the point where Jacko is now ready for it. He doesn't like to be out in it, and he makes sure that his trips are real short, but he's fine with it. He walks in the deep snow. He's fine with that. Yet you can't get him to go out in the rain. Nuts. Man. All right, we'll get to the traffic in a second here as we're heading toward the freaking weekend. Because your face didn't freeze off. Yeah. Yeah. You know, I can handle the cold weather no matter how cold it gets. The only thing that bugs me is when you have this wind, particularly either the north or the west or the northwest. That's the kind of stuff that makes it feel like knives are being driven through your cheeks. If it's just the wind, the cold weather itself, I can do it. I can deal with it all the time. But it's just the wind that really wrecks it. Really wrecks it. Okay, random question as Heather listens to this 80s rock. At what point, how many years makes something considered oldies? You heard some calling the Offspring classic rock and almost passed out. Well, you know, that tends to shift over the course of years. Once upon a time, oldies used to mean like early 60s. The earliest oldies that we ever got involved with, I don't know when you started, because I know you were in this area listening to us from a long time ago on, when we were back at a station that started off when I worked with Johnny as an oldies, legitimate oldies station. It wasn't classic rock. It was oldies stuff. This is stuff that was late 50s, early 60s. Then we come to the mid-late 60s. As time goes on and the general public and general listening audience gets older, suddenly oldies is actually a little bit newer. And I'm talking about in terms of like 70s stuff. Now suddenly becomes oldies. There's going to be a day as people continue to age where Eminem is going to be considered an oldies act. It's not quite there yet, but is borderline right now. Even classic rock music, that used to be strictly 70s and 80s. Now you're hearing stuff from the 90s. As the audience ages, the music that is considered old is actually still newer music, relatively speaking. And it really kind of depends on the region and the audience's taste in music as to exactly when that cutoff point is in terms of what year you want to have. It is wild to have. Linda, by the way, remembers that oldie stuff as being good stuff. He's about to be a grandpa. You're talking about Eminem, Heather. So yes, that's true. That's true. He is.
Friday morning prep National Scream, which of course is coming up this hour, and there's lots of things to scream about. If you've got something you want to dedicate it to, somebody who's made your life a living hell, or maybe it's just your job, or maybe it's just the news, or maybe it's just
The price of eggs. We don't know. It could be anything.
whatever's got you stressed out, you can always dedicate it by calling us and telling us that. 810-230-9777. We've got a lot going on. There's the Arctic outbreak, which had everybody going nuts. It's finally breaking for us next week, but apparently the central U.S. hit their peak yesterday. Temperatures continuing to spread south and east across the nation. It's so cold that people that live in major cities have to steal an extra winter coat now. That's how bad it's gotten. It's so damn cold.
How cold is
It's
it?
that cold. And there's people down in Australia, down under, who are screaming this morning. There's a high school teacher there who's got people screaming at him, concerned parents mainly, for allegedly identifying as a cat and acting weird in front of students. And it really got ugly when he went to use the litter box, so...
No. You take that story back.
No, it's real. It's a story. It's the true story. And real screaming coming out of theaters this weekend. There's a new Stephen King horror movie, The Monkey. It's theaters today. Title they landed on, I think, after bailing on their original choice, Furious George. But apparently, here's the plot. When twin brothers Bill and Hal, yes, right, Hal, Bill and Hal find their father's old monkey toy in the attic. And then a series of gruesome deaths begin.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
So like a curse on that.
When you find your dad's old monkey toy in the attic, but man, you find your mom's toy in her underwear drawer, you're really going to
Leave it
scream.
alone. Leave it alone. Don't touch
Big
it.
time screaming then, yeah. Ah!
What happened to my batteries?
8:10 here in the Foxhole right now, 10 minutes after the top of the hour on the Foxhole Morning Show. Some good news. We'll change it up a little bit here. You're a first-time home buyer, first-generation home buyer. Michigan has just upped the down payment assistance to $25,000 for you.
I saw that.
So go to MDHHS, I think.
Yes, litter box.
To MSHDA.
And Heather loves, with 3 O's, Stephen King. Can't wait to watch this thing.
Funded with $8 million from the state budget. Pilot program expected to help at least 320 families in Michigan. First generation home buyer, $25,000 down payment assistance to help cover the upfront costs of purchasing a house.
Huh.
Love being scared. That's interesting.
That
Okay.
story. My youngest son and his wife are looking.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Yeah, for sure.
If you want to talk to us, 810-230-9777, the number to call. Don't forget, we're here for you.
Okay. Get to the traffic, and then we're going to get to some food. We got to get some food going here. The current state of the economy is scream-worthy, says Heather, and Eric says he remembers when we did the radio shows on Periscope, the old days, from the older station. Yep, those were the days. Linda's glad she's retired from education. There's a lot of upheaval in that world. We've had Bonzo on. Our education secretary has been on with us for years, ever since we started this thing on Periscope back in, what year was it, 15? Been doing this damn near 10 years? Yeah, we've been doing this almost 10 years now. Having started through Periscope and taken it through all of pretty much every other live stream that there is, including Haps for the 2 days that it was on. But ever since then, we have been battling with stuff.
Retiree Professional Hearing Clinic is part of the UAW hearing program, which means that you and your spouse are most
Whoops, hold on. Back to the traffic. Almost lost this. What's going on here?
policies offered to your
But Bonzo has been our education secretary, and the next time she comes back to us, because she's been busy, and she's also, from what I understand, I think her daughter's also getting an education now. Because her daughter just turned, I think, 23, and she's going into the education field, and there's a little bit of concern in that family over what's going on with that. The whole picture. The whole picture. Tina thinks she's been here for like 8 years, which is a long time, too, to not be sick of us, because other people have gotten sick of us and moved on. Eric is big on the Stephen King movie Christine. He remembers that one. Talking on the subject of Stephen King.
correctly priced not to be undersold. In fact, owners
Take a look at the traffic here, and then we will move on to our food, because I got a whole... How's Jacko been? Jacko has gotten a little bit better. I've been working with the Spirit Training Academy to try to figure out ways to turn his mind into something a little milder and a little less full of upheaval. And it's starting to work. I'm starting to see a lot of progress. It's a process, but he's doing things a little bit more in line with what I want these days. He doesn't bark as often as he used to. Sometimes I've figured out how to make sure that he doesn't have his focus on that. I can't wait till when we get to the spring and the snow's gone, because there's a trick that I'm going to try with him to see if it really helps mellow him out. They tell me it really will, because it does it for all dogs. I got a second here. Which involves throwing random treats in the grass on the lawn and letting the dog hunt for them. Don't ever let the dog see where they're being thrown, otherwise he's just chasing them. You don't want him to chase, you want him to try to hunt for and find on his own where the treats are. And he has to be able to sniff around in the grass to do that, because he can't just readily see them. He has to look around. And that, they say, relaxes the dog immensely. And I'm going to try that trick as soon as the snow is gone and we're able to do that. Right now, we have no problems on any of the freeways, but in the city of Burton, we've got a crash that has just been reported to us from Saginaw Street at Kenneth Street. Be careful that area. And also, we're still looking at a disabled vehicle situation in Flint. You'll find that at Western and Pearson Roads. If you're looking for Vehicle City traffic information, remember to check out ClassicFox.com/traffic any time of the day for that. And if you spot a slowdown, call us. 810-230-WRSR is the number. That is 810-230-9777 to be a traffic tipster on 103.9 The Fox. He's got a lot of anxiety. Kim has a lot of his books. I'm assuming we're talking Stephen King now. A lot of his books. Well, there you go. He's popular, and we're finding out we've got at least two people right here who love it. Judgment Free Zone, who is in the Tennessee, Kentucky area, says loves Christine the book. Really made you feel like you were there. Such great writing, and the movie was awesome. There you go. Linda spots a slowdown since we're talking traffic, and it is her. Eric goes back about 9 years ago. That is a long time to continue to be doing that. Heather's saying you can't imagine not having grass to do business. You know, he has had that as a challenge. Can I show the setup there? It's been very curious about what the view looks like for so long. Oh, you mean what, the studio? We're going to do that during the Primal Scream, so hang in there if you can for that, because we're going to do that in a few minutes. That's kind of something we do on a routine basis, so that you can take a look and see. You know, Periscope, since you're talking about that, and I'm going to veer off here and we're going to get back to food. I promise we're going to do that. But when Periscope was invented, the concept was not to have people put themselves on it and put on a show for people, a la what we're doing now. The concept that Periscope had, their stated mission kind of was seeing the world through your eyes. In other words, you, as the creator, the one who is showing all of the video, are showing the world what it is that you are looking at. Rather than, hey, look at me, it is what you are looking at. And that's kind of what that, so we're going to go back to doing that. With this in just a couple of minutes. When we get into this Primal Scream, you will see my view as I see everything in here. All right? Summertime, Tina says they're getting turf for Rocco because he's killing the grass. Yes, I've had my dogs do that. You know, the thing is, because there's all the snow around here, and when Jacko goes out, that is his main purpose for going out, right? Whether it be here or up at the mall. He's out there and marking everywhere he goes. So it's like there are yellow spots all over the mall in the snow, which is snow covered right now. They've piled it all up onto our track. We can't go on the sidewalk because there's tons of snow on it. But Jacko is getting his revenge. He's making sure that that snow has thousands of little yellow spots on it. You bet it's perspective. You bet it is. Okay, here we go. Russ is the first up. He's the first one that I have from my pile of posts or treasure trove of tweets here.
This is Flint's 103.9 The Fox.
Russ says filet mignon is dog crap. Filet mignon is dog crap. Lemon snow cones is what they are. And for Tina, she says for their fenced-in area, you can wash it. Yes. Is he one of those that does that? Is Rocco the one who's marking everything? Is that his? Because that's really kind of what Jacko's doing. He is absolutely an alpha dog. Absolutely an alpha dog. He thinks he is, no matter where he goes, he wants to make sure you are going to know that I've been here. That's his whole purpose for existing. Russ is nuts, Tina says. Chris says, no, it's not. Oh, you like filet mignon too. Okay. Who can afford filet mignon, asks Linda. Interesting question, particularly since we're talking about the economy today. Which would you rather have, filet mignon or a plate of scrambled eggs right now? Which could you better afford? Think about that before you decide. Alex is next. Alex says, I put turkey on pizza. Alex says, I put turkey on pizza. Heather saying affordable groceries, eggs, period. That's true. I mean, we're to the point now, certainly in Michigan, I don't know what's going on in Virginia, but in Michigan, we are at the point now where a couple of the chain stores, supermarkets, are rationing. They're saying only 1 carton of eggs to a customer. This is back to the days when we had toilet paper shortages in the days of COVID. Remember those days? You had to scramble to get, well, it's with eggs now. If you aren't there early, it's first come, first serve. You ain't getting any. Are these full moon posts? Oh, from the people who have been posting this stuff? Okay, Linda's also in disagreement, I guess, with this turkey on pizza thing. Eric's never had filet mignon. Kimberly says, yes, it is. Yes, it is. That's Ohio Kim saying eggs. Eggs is the one that's harder to afford these days. All right. No way. The turkey on pizza we're talking about now? Sometimes I lose track of which one you're commenting on. Rachel, and not our royal Rachel, but this other one who posted this one, says popcorn dipped in nacho cheese is delicious. Popcorn dipped in nacho cheese is delicious. Eric is rejecting this turkey on a pizza thing. Tina is saying, if you have an Aldi's by you, their meat is great, she says. Turkey on pizza is why? Heather says.
And the Fox is all I listen to.
The Fox. Hal's traffic this morning. There's a older model silver Impala in the middle of the intersection of Western Road and East Pearson Road. It's running and there's nobody in it. Free car!
Free car!
At a 3.9, the Fox.
I guess experimentation, you know, even though Johnny says you can't call it a pizza unless you have the prescribed Italian toppings on it. If you put, for example, pineapple on it, it no longer qualifies to be a pizza. If that's the case, you can put anything you want on it to experiment, and somebody apparently found success with putting turkey on it. Cheese popcorn is the bomb, says Linda. Heather says popcorn and nacho cheese makes sense, so she'd do it. Try it and get back to me and see if it worked. I'm not a big fan of nacho cheese on anything. I mean, I'll take if you have nacho chips, I'll eat the chips minus the cheese. Okay, so we're going to make gloopy. Tina wants the word gloopy to be a word of the day here. Kim's never tried it on popcorn. Never tried it on popcorn, nacho cheese. Well, maybe you want to try it and see if somebody found some success here. Maybe. And find out. And then get back to me with what you thought. That'll put a whole different spin on the way people eat around here. Got another one. Days Like This. Days Like This is the name of the tweeter or the poster, whichever you prefer, who says, cloves. Horrible, horrible little things. Just horrible. Heather would eat all the cheese from... Nah, I like that idea. Because, we're talking in terms of, for example, mac and cheese. Linda's continuing to roll her eyes when I bring this up, but if you want to have mac and cheese, somebody else take the cheese. I'll take the mac all day. It's great. But leave the cheese off of it. Please, leave the cheese off of it. See? Now, Eric thinks that chocolate on popcorn is good. He's had it and loves it. Have you tried that? Chocolate on popcorn, guys. Eric thinks that works. Tina says they're great in ham. What is great in ham? Linda wants to know who eats whole cloves. I know some people who have left them in soups, for example, and they've ended up in my mouth in disgusted fashion. Simple as that. Heather says that she bases most of her meals on what kind of cheese she can use in it. Well, okay then. There we go. There's your gauge. Tina, yes, cloves. Cloves. Yes, cloves. I've seen people, though, I don't know, you use them to what? Flavor stuff? Is that kind of what you do with them? Some people will do that I've had it happen. They end up in soups. They use to flavor it. I don't know if you're supposed to necessarily eat it, but they've ended up me eating it, and I'm not crazy about it. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Just to flavor. Yep. Absolutely. To flavor stuff, all right? Well, we got something else here. Use a spice mesh thing for it. For cloves, Heather's saying use a spice mesh thing for it. Ohio Kim's never had that. How about this? How about this from Brian Harvey? Lemongrass smells great, but tastes vile and overpowers everything it's in. Lemongrass smells great, but tastes vile and overpowers everything it's in.
103.9 The Fox, Johnny and Steph getting ready for the Friday morning Primal Scream on the Friday Funnies edition of the Foxhole Morning Show. Mostly cloudy, 27-degree day today, by the way. Tonight it'll be mostly cloudy and breezy overnight, down to 14. Then tomorrow, partly sunny, breezy, and 30. Sunday, mostly cloudy, but 36. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday right now should be just above 40. So we do have some warmer weather, or
Can't wait for that.
a brief stint of warmer weather, at least, for a while. The end of next week starts to get back down in the 30s, but so what? This is the time of year we'll have back and forth quite a
Yeah,
bit
it's
again.
February and March, I know.
All right, just ahead, Friday morning Primal Scream coming up next. And some people probably want to scream about the fact that ESPN just dropped Major League Baseball. So,
Oh no, just in time for the season, huh?
yeah, and of course, you know what the trend has been lately to take them over to subscription services that you then have to pay for.
Pay for it.
So who knows what's going to end up happening here, because they haven't picked the successor yet to ESPN. But ESPN is dropping out of Major League Baseball this year.
So we won't know where to watch our games?
No, not yet. MLB is scrambling to get some other venues for the games to play. Of course, there's still network games and all of that, but
Yeah.
it's 8:28 now on the Fox.
Tina's only had it in herbal teas. Oh, like I guess spice, cloves, perhaps. Kim's never eaten much popcorn. Linda, interestingly, says that clove oil is good for a toothache. Clove oil is good for a toothache. Have you ever had a toothache and used that as a cure? And yes, I am familiar with the Savannah Bananas baseball team, Heather. I've heard of them. I've seen some videos of them, and they were supposed to be doing a tour around here, over in West Michigan. In fact, I think they were supposed to go over to Grand Rapids and do an appearance over there. They're weird. That's a whole weird thing. They dance a lot. They're basically an independent team that kind of barnstorms a lot. They go all over the country because they have this weird thing where they do this choreograph in the middle of a game. They'll break out into like a flash dance type of thing in perfect synchronization. They wear these bright yellow uniforms, and they're actually good players. They're kind of, I don't want to necessarily say they're like the Harlem Globetrotters of baseball because they don't necessarily do a lot of tricks with the ball and stuff, but they put on a show way apart from the game itself. You would watch that. Well, look for, barnstorming is kind of what they do. You'll find them on YouTube. If you YouTube them, you will find, I guarantee you will find videos of them and what they do and kind of the weird stuff they're involved in. I've seen some of their live stuff. TikTok has shown some live stuff of them. In fact, that's where I first learned about them is when I was scrolling around a little bit and I found a live stream that was doing this whole Savannah Bananas thing. And then it came up a couple more times. It gives that vibe, though. Yeah, good competition. It's barnstorming means you're not tied to one league. You're going all over the country to do whatever it is that you're doing. That's a kind of an old school term, barnstorming. Eric hasn't had a toothache as of yet. You might when you're older. Well, when you're 38 years old as you're coming up on, so, that's happening. And you might want to take this little advice that maybe clove oil is going to help you. So have that on. Same on TikTok. It says, yeah, absolutely on TikTok. Sure. Yep, that's what we're playing is the Fly Like an Eagle by the Steve Miller Band. That from our musicologist, Eric. And by the way, yes, lemongrass. You guys know what lemongrass is? I don't even know. Interestingly, that Heather dislikes licorice and anything resembles it. I love black licorice and love Twizzlers, the red licorice. Although I can get sick of Twizzlers like from one bite to the next. That's the only thing about Twizzlers. It's really, really good. And then the very next chew, it's kind of like spearmint gum for me. Love it. And then all of a sudden, the very next chew, all of a sudden, I've gotten really tired of it real fast. I do love black licorice, except for the aftertaste of it. Always have loved black licorice. They used to probably still do it too, in some of these old school stores that have old time candies and stuff. Licorice gum. It was licorice flavored gum. I think it was Beeman's that used to do that. But it actually had licorice flavored gum. Heather's a foodie and never cooked with lemongrass, and cooks a lot too. You guys know what lemongrass is? I'm not even sure what that is. What would you put in that, or what would you put that in? Lemongrass. Because we've got a bunch of you. Heather's another of our foodies. Tina's kind of like our food pro over on YouTube right now.
Hey, what's up? I got some break new news for you. Right? ESPN will no longer carry the baseball, right? Right. But they gone and sold the rights to a cheaper network. It's called ESP Network. ESP? Yeah. They don't give you the scores, you just gotta know what happened. Play ball! Thank you. Have a good day. Bye. I don't know what's gonna happen.
Who is that guy? He's such a character.
It's a guy that we've actually met on the internet. We've never met face to face.
No?
Well, but we've been kind of sharing this morning show. He's been calling into this show for years now.
Yeah.
From San Francisco.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's out there in San Fran.
It's like a 3 or 4 hour time difference. What is he doing up so early?
Who the hell knows? 8:30. Well, he's also a voiceover artist. He's a voiceover talent, so they sometimes have to get up early to talk to the East Coast.
I gotcha.
It's 8:33 here in the Foxhole, and we've got our Friday morning primal scream just around the corner. A lot of people screaming about this again. We have a petulant child on the Detroit Lions team, and his name is Jamison Williams.
What's Jamison
Every
Williams?
other time you turn around, he's in trouble. And
really?
now he got in trouble for, well, this was a while ago. He had this great season on the field, but he has had some off-the-field lows. Now breathing a sigh of relief, though, regarding one of those incidents that hung over his head. According to the Detroit Free Press, a league spokesperson said the Lions wide receiver will not face disciplinary action stemming from a traffic stop in Detroit where he was found in possession of an unlicensed gun during the season. Spokesperson said the matter is considered, quote, closed. He keeps getting out of all this trouble.
Which is why he keeps getting into trouble again.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said.
What'd you call him, a petulant child?
A petulant child.
I love that.
Is what he is. And of course, when nobody does anything about it, just gives him more bravery to do something stupid again.
It's a permission slip.
Exactly. So that's an issue. You want to scream about that. And also, the Lions are also set to lose another key figure from their organization. This time, it's not going to be from the coaching staff, though. According to ESPN's Pete Thamel, I have no idea how he pronounces his name. Anyway, Michigan State is hiring John Dykma as their executive senior associate athletic director for student athlete management and assistant general counsel. Like, that is going to be the longest business card in history there.
God, what do you do for a living? Well, sit down and I'll tell you.
He's here. He was on the air. He's here now with us on Twitch. It's Chris Rossetti, our San Francisco treat.
Yeah, so the Lions.
How many degrees do you need for that job?
Who the hell knows? And yeah, eternal student.
Yeah.
6:30 or make that 8:35. We are getting ready. The Friday morning primal scream is coming up next.
It is. Heather's in her car ready to scream so she doesn't scare people in her home. Linda's dad liked it, like lemongrass. I'm thinking back where we're at here. Okay, Heather, this is her background. She remembers going to school right after hunting in camo, gun in the trunk, just hunting season stuff. Opening day would even close school because students would be out hunting. Youth hunt day, yeah, but no question that the firearm season in November is always like a statewide holiday here for sure. Okay, one more time before we go to our Friday morning primal scream. This is the last one for you today. It comes from Joe Drake, who says, meat is overrated. And people mostly like the flavor of seasonings and sauces and what they're used to. Meat is overrated, and people mostly like the flavor of seasonings and sauces and what they're used to.
Just channeling my inner William Shakespeare.
Shoot Valley, 211 North Main Street near the tracks in downtown Davison.
All right, let's get back to the traffic, and then we're going to get to the scream. Everybody get ready. Chris, Tina's saying hello to you from New Jersey.
Why?
That's Chris, our San Francisco treat, Chris. I forgot that we've got more than one on. We got so many people with the same name, we have to differentiate and make sure that we know who's who. Can't tell the players without a scorecard over here. Chris says, yo, Tina! Well, actually, Chris says, yo, Tina. You know, he is.
Looking for a hassle-free car buying experience? At RPM Auto Sales, we offer special financing for everyone, regardless of your credit history.
Wish you could get a collective audience scream for perspective. Says, you know what? That's a good idea. If we could figure out a way to get all of the chats from these 3 live streams onto the one pipeline, which has always been the problem ever since we've been trying to do this thing, it would be cool. I'd love to be able to see us be able to do something like that. Maybe one day what we can do is get some kind of a mass Zoom call going on a scream day of everybody that's here. That would be rocking. StreamYard, yeah. I'd like to. Eric loves meat on burgers. Yeah. For even just 2 seconds, it would be epic. It would be epic. Heather would do it. Some people, this has been a 40-year concept because people are so into doing this. What a great way to start the weekend, because the week has built so much tension and just kind of thing going. Anxiousness, anxiety, build up. Get rid of it here in the next couple minutes. Chris R. would be a good choice to redo The Grinch, says Linda on YouTube. Chris, you'd be a great choice to redo The Grinch. That's right. You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. He would. He could do that. That's the modern-day Thurl Ravenscroft. Absolutely. Oh, you know what, Heather? You are the best. So I'm glad to see you show up here. Even if you're not in Michigan anymore. You used to be. It's a lot easier to see that. Okay. We ready to scream? You're going to feel real good now. As soon as they quit with the commercials. The freaking weekend is almost here.
Listen to 103.9 The Fox through February 27th for your chance to win tickets and pit passes. Traffic.
Here we go.
The Fox. Vehicle City traffic.
Just ahead of the Friday morning primal scream, we're trying to clean up one mess right now in Burton. That's going to be a crash at the intersection of Saginaw Street at Kenneth Street. And at the moment, it's the only thing going on to slow the traffic. 75, 475, 69, 23, all moving well. You're looking north, 675, US 10, all clear at the moment. If you happen to spot a crash or an unusual slowdown, we invite you to call us at 810-230-WRSR. That's 810-230-9777 to be a traffic tipster right here on 103.9 The Fox.
It's finally Friday!
I guess we're ready to go do this.
Lots of things to scream about. President Trump said that he's not happy. He's screaming. Not happy with the fact that it's taking so long for Boeing to build the next Air Force One jetliner. It's Boeing. The rest of us aren't happy that Boeing's still building jetliners.
Right?
At all. This guy might explode. This will make him just like Boeing. And Senator Mitch McConnell. A lot of people were screaming at him for a long time, and now he's finally heard them.
Yes. He's not running for re-election.
The longest-serving party leader in the upper chamber's history announcing yesterday that he will not seek re-election in 2026. He'll be too focused on other things,
Like breathing.
like not dying. And a new Wallet Hub study reveals that millions of urban residents are now struggling to keep up with their bills. Everybody's doing that. So to lower the water bill, they're just going to continually pee on the city sidewalks and not use it. That helps. Some cities are seeing nearly 90% jumps in the number of people seeking payment relief from their creditors.
90%.
That's how bad this got. And
I
the other
believe it.
10% are, just never paying anything
Sure,
back.
yeah.
And a new CDC study suggests that people can get bird flu from their cats.
See, I told you we could catch it. But how from cats?
From their cat. It's just proof that cats want us dead. That's all.
Okay, all right, gotcha.
But yeah, your cat somehow can now transfer it.
I don't want to do that. Do you want to watch soccer? No, I don't want to do that. Do you want to go to prison? No, I don't want to do that. Do you want to get a haircut? No, I don't want to do that. Do you want to swallow poison? No, I don't want to do that. Do you want to get in a hot tub full of blackberry brandy with Cindy Crawford?
Oh, yes! Yeah, let's do it!
Give her the night off.
No, she wants me. I can see it in her eyes.
You keep telling yourself that.
Cindy Crawford wants me. I can see it in her mole. Her mole is twitching whenever I come around.
Yeah.
All right, so no matter where you are, what you're doing, the idea here is to get rid of any negative energy you have by screaming it out of your system. Think about what's stressing you out. And if it's us, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
But if it's anything else, just think about what it is, and then when you scream together with us, picture it just going out with your scream. Enjoy your weekend. This really works.
Leave it all here with us.
Exactly, and U of M has actually tested this, and it's good for stress. Let's do it. 1, 2, 3.
I might pass out.
Jessica stepped out to find her chocolate cake on the floor of her back porch, brown paw prints on her new beige couch, and a panting possum lying on top of it, adding he was panting a lot. Oh, that's how you know you ate a cake good. Okay, his pupils are dilated and his vitals are spiking. Time of cake, 3:47. Trend watchers are saying, forget male Botox. Finance bros are lining up to get penis filler and scrotum filler. Yet another sad example of the pressure on men to live up to the well-known preference women have for huge scrotums. California introduced a bill to recognize Bigfoot as the state's official cryptid. Well, that's strange and completely unnecessary. California already has a mystical furry creature, Randy Quaid.
There are so many television shows and episodes of television shows we could and should be watching. It's amazing any of us are here right now. It's kind of overwhelming. DVR, on demand. Sometimes I open my Netflix, I'm like, I don't think I can do it. I'm not even going to make a dent here. And I know there's pressure. We all feel it because we've developed excuses for our friends, like we're dealing with debt collectors. You watch Game of Thrones? I'm a little behind. Like, give me a week. My wife had a dumb baby. And it's never ending. You finish that show, now you have to watch this show, and then you have... No, now I need to learn how to read again. I need to sound out some words and see if I can read.
Classic rock.
Classic rock. Classic rock.
Flynn's Classic Rock. 103.9 The Fox.
That's who we are. Thank you very much for your attendance and your attention and hanging out on Friday to kickstart our freaking weekend, which is on its way. And the answer to the question about the picture in the corner over by the tree, that is Kramer from Seinfeld. That was a poster of a painting that showed up in one of the episodes of Seinfeld. I got that as a gift from one of our longtime Hellraisers, who hasn't been with us for quite a while, but she was very popular when she was here. And she was a very big fan of Seinfeld. That's where I got that picture from. Guys, have yourself a great rest of your day. Thank you very much for your attendance and your attention. I hope you're having a pleasant, peaceful, and productive day and weekend ahead. And then come on back on Monday, because we're going to be doing the same thing as we did today from the same places: YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, which is what we do every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And then every day that starts with a T, it's on Instagram that we go. Okay? So, thanks again. Have yourself a great day. Come on back here and reconvene with your friends, the Hellraisers, on YouTube or Facebook or Twitch. Take your pick. We'll be here on Monday for you. Hopefully you're going to be say the same, okay? Okay.